morning, IHSA Football Family, Week 2 Games of the Week article. Make sure you check out the article on deepdishfootball.com. Make sure you follow Coach Big Pete and Deep Dish Football on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Also, my emails, coachbigpetefp@gmail.com. And again, it is right around where we're getting to September. September 1st is Friday. If I'm not mistaken, this is being filmed Wednesday morning. So again, September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, or Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month. As you will see the yellow ribbon everywhere. I'm taking no donations, no tips, none of that. Please, if you like my work, if you hate my work, if you like me, if you hate me, please send money to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. The link will be provided. They do a wonderful job. And again, it is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month. I've been doing this now for 6 years. And again, no tips, donations. Don't send anything to me. Please send money to St. Jude's Children's Hospital, it is Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month, Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, and St. Jude's Children's Hospital does a wonderful job, so please check it out. And again, Deep Dish Football Live is Wednesday at 6 p.m. Breakfast with Coach Big Pete is 9 a.m. Saturday on the Breakfast with Coach Big Pete Facebook page. Again, DuPage Run Shoot show comes out Thursday with my co-host Patrick Codo. Make sure you follow DuPage Run Shoot show as well. And as always, because we have to go over this again and again and again and again, if you have a big game stat, please let me know after the game to nominate your player for the Deep Dish Football Player of the Night in the state of Illinois. I need those nominations by midnight. The awards go up after midnight. Also, offensive line unit, top offensive line unit in the state of Illinois, please let me know. Email me, or again, my email is coachbigpetefp@gmail.com. Tweet at me, Instagram me, Snapchat me. Please send me your stats. And again, Sunday conclusion article comes out on Sunday, so please send me those stats on Saturday when you have some free time. Again, please, for the Sunday conclusion article to be featured in the top performers on deepdishfootball.com. All right, and we get into week 2, and again, with week 1, that first win is good. That first loss is not so good. And again, with that being said, the teams that were supposed to win, they got to get that bad loss out of their mouth. And again, they got to get that win. That's the most important thing. And that taste of the loss can resonate for the whole season. So this week 2 is going to be very important for some teams, especially with some teams that have gotten their first win that were surprised. This is a big time to prove that they are real and to gain that second win. And again, I'm looking definitely towards some of the conferences that I'm looking at. I'm still looking at the Fox Valley Conference from last week. I do believe that a lot of people were not looking highly on Cary Grove or Prairie Ridge, which was absolutely stupid. I'm saying those two schools, they're going to be something. Also taking a close look at Seneca for the second week as well. Also taking a very, very close look at Naperville North as they take on Loyola Academy, but I'll get into that later in the video. But we get into week 2 games of the week. Now we get into the Big Northern Conference, and I see this as a big game. I'm looking very closely at Rockford Lutheran. Byron at Rockford Lutheran. Can Byron put a stop to that rushing attack of Rockford Lutheran? That's going to be a big game to check out. I'm definitely looking at that one. Also, I'm taking a close look, very close look too at where's the game? I'm trying to find the game. Sorry about that. By the way, I'm scrolling down IHSA.org, all the games for week 2. I'm taking a close look at Normal Community High School. I said college almost. Normal Community High School, the Ironmen. They had a big win over Sacred Heart Griffin. This is going to be very interesting. They take on Champaign Central. Definitely a game that you have to check out as well. Also, taking a look, trying to find, where are you? I'm trying to find you. Danville at Peoria. Peoria had a tough loss last week to Rochester. That's another game that you have to check out for as well. For the Black Diamond Conference, Fairfield at El Dorado is always going to be a big game. I think El Dorado's got a great team this year. Fairfield, the Mules are kicking. So, yeah, you like that little cliche that I used. But Fairfield, I'm very interested in this team for the Black Diamond Conference. Christopher, they're playing a tough team in Flora. Can they get their first win? University, Sacred Heart Griffin. You talk about a big time game in the Central State 8 for University. They got the big first win. Sacred Heart Griffin's a little bit down on the ropes. We'll see what happens with that game. Springfield takes on Rochester. I think Rochester is going to get that game. They look really good, this Rochester team. I'm playing right now. Everyone doubted Derek Leonard. Guess what? They're not doubting him anymore for this season. And I don't know why they doubted him. It makes absolutely no sense. MacArthur at Jacksonville, another interesting game because I'm looking at Decatur MacArthur. They've got a great team. They're going to have a couple of great teams in the next 2 years. This is definitely a team that you got to check out for. Looking, by the way, big shout out to what was it? I'm forgetting one team. Lincoln on a big win last week. Lincoln takes on Eisenhower. If Lincoln get to 2-0, watch out for those Lincoln rail splitters. I'm telling you that right now. Good team, very good team. Going down. Okay. Cary Grove takes on Crystal Lake Central. Crystal Lake Central had a tough loss last week, and everyone was picking Crystal Lake Central to win the Fox Valley. Cary Grove, big game for them. Big game for Crystal Lake Central, definitely a big game in the Fox Valley Conference. Prairie Ridge, Crystal Lake South, always a big game. Crystal Lake South King Casimino had a wonderful game last week. This is going to be another big time game for them. I'm also very interested to see how Burlington Central responds last week to a tough loss. They got to get that first win. That's going to be key for Burlington Central. Bloomington Central Catholic, I really like this season. Got the first win. Keep a good close eye out on for that offense as well. Still, where are you? I'm trying to find. Sorry about that. Actually, nothing really that much. I mean, the big thing that I'm seeing too in this is a lot of key matchups with 0-1, 1-0s. Not that many 0-1s, 0-1s going against each other, which is surprising in the first part of the schedule. Harlem and Hanahu is going to be a big game. Harlem's defense is playing lights out against the tough Hanahu. Cole Warren, quarterback that you must know about for Hanahu, he's a hell of a quarterback, definitely a player you got to check out for. Rockford Boylan takes on Rockford Jefferson. Belvedere North, Rockford East. I like Belvedere North this season, so definitely keep an eye out for him. Forston takes on Dakota. Forston, I really am very interested in this team. Lena Winslow takes on Fulton. Fulton had a tough loss to Forston last week. With Lena Winslow, I honestly don't see Lena Winslow dropping a game this season. I really don't. But we'll see. They play some tough teams. EPC versus DuPage's a big game in NUIC. DuPage, keep an eye out for Hoffman, their quarterback. EPC defense is going to be key in that game. Merrill Forsyth, another interesting team that we get into, especially with that two-way. Coach Joseph has done a wonderful job after the first week. This second week, definitely another team to look at. Auburn, they graduated some key players last year, so we'll see what's up with that. Williamsville, again, they always find a way to regroup. I'm keeping a close eye out for that game as well. Pana, the running back of Pana, had 4 touchdowns last week. Big game against the Carlinville team. Carlinville always has a good, stout defense. That's definitely a game that you want to check out as well. Mount Vernon at Carbondale. Can Carbondale get the win over a Dan Ming's team that looks really good this season. So, be interesting. Not that much going at the Upstate 8. The one big game that I see in there is South Elgin versus Glenbard East. Glenbard East, their defense was unbelievable last week. They take on a South Elgin's defense who's unbelievable. Their quarterback had a great game, tremendous game. The South Elgin game versus Glenbard East could be a big-time game. With Glenbard South, I think the big thing is going to be Glenbard South versus South Elgin, like I said before the season. But this Glenbard East team is proving everyone wrong, so keep an eye out for that as well. Not that much going on there. Definitely very interested in Bismarck heading this season. I think they can do some damage, especially from week 3 to week 6. Definitely a team that you got to keep an eye out for. Reed Custer at Johnsburg. Big game for Reed Custer. Reed Custer 3A going against the 4A team of Johnsburg. Johnsburg looks unbelievable this season. Definitely a game you got to check out for. Aurora Christian at Wilmington. Can Wilmington get their first win? They had a tough loss to Seneca. Defense has got to shaping up against a tough Aurora Christian team with their, who had an unbelievable game. First game, wide receiver, like 3 or 4 touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken. Brother Rice at Marist is always the big game. Everyone likes to talk about that. It's a big South Side game. And again, for Brother Rice, they look really impressive after that big win over Maine South. Marist, we'll see. Marist needs that win. It's gonna be another big time game right there. Buffalo Grove at Palatine. Buffalo Grove got the big overtime win again, and they're playing a Palatine team that's pissed off after giving up the lead to St. Charles North. Another big time game that you got to look at as well. Canton takes on Coal City. I'm taking a very close look at Coal City after a tough loss to Morrison week 1. St. Francis Academy takes on East St. Louis. That's the big game that everybody is talking about in the state of Illinois because East St. Louis had a tough loss to Mount Carmel. Again, with Mount Carmel, and I'm going to say this right now. First let's get East St. Louis. East St. Louis, to me, when I saw from the film, East St. Louis was more impressive. I was very impressed with East St. Louis, especially some of their youth. And again, East St. Louis is going to make a pretty good run. With Mount Carmel, there was a lot of mental mistakes, a lot of broken coverages, and especially linebackers not reading their keys. It's going to be interesting to see Mount Carmel. They are 1-0, and they can be considered the best team, one of the best teams in the IHSA, but we will see what happens. Next big game is Batavia versus Lincoln Way East at Batavia, if I'm not mistaken. Lincoln Way East. Unbelievable first win against the Kenwood. You couldn't have asked for anything more perfect. Batavia gets the big win over Phillips. Can Lincoln Way East go into Batavia territory and get out with the win? That's going to be huge. And the big thing is going to be Brandon Tishner, the quarterback of Lincoln Way East, going against a tough, stout defense of Batavia. Also, Lincoln Way East defensive line, Harold, the defensive line, great, going against that very tough Batavia offensive line. That's going to be another game that you got to check out for as well. And that's a Friday game. Yes, it is. De La Salle, and I forgot to mention, De La Salle got their first win. They got a good shot at being 2-0. De La Salle's a team that you do not want to sleep on. Leo takes on Walford Christian. Can Leo get to 2-0? Coach Stevenson has done an unbelievable job this season. After getting the first win off a Hail Mary, and it's great to see. And honestly, it's great to see things like that, especially for teams that have had a bad couple seasons. They get the first win the first week. That's huge. Buffalo Grove at Palatine, I already talked about. That's a big game that you want to check out for. Mater Day at the Milk Bowl. Mater Day versus Breeze Central. Two inter-town rivals going against each other. That's always a big rivalry game that you got to keep an eye out for as well. Let's see it going on down anymore. Already talked about that game. That game got canceled. We got some games that got canceled, by the way. And again, one of the big things too is the roster sizes. There's a lot of mid-sized schools. They ain't got 40 kids. They ain't even got 30 kids. That's going to be a little bit of a thing to look at as well. Glenbar North takes on Willowbrook, two teams that need a win bad. Willowbrook lost to Niles Notre Dame. Glenbar North lost their first week, if I'm not mistaken, to Moline. This is a big time game. They need a win. They need that W. And more for Glenbar North because Glenbar North is in that Duquesne conference. Willowbrook, they got some cupcakes on their schedule, but this Glenbar North team, they need that win more than Willowbrook needs that win to get a good shot to playoffs. And plus, they play in the Duquesne conference. That's a pain in the butt for any coach in that Duquesne conference, no doubt about that. Carlisle, Tuscola lost their first game to I think it was St. Bede. So this is going to be a big time proving game for Tuscola. Chester at Benton. Chester, they lost their first game. They need that big win. Jasmine, the quarterback, is a star. Keep an eye out for that as well. Let's go down. Okay. Right. Grant versus Glenbrook North. Can Grant get the big upset? We'll see what happens with that one. Geneva at Lamont. Big time game right there. Geneva's got the win. Lamont's got the loss. Lamont lost to Libertyville. You talk about an epic game. A very epic game for Lamont. They need this win against a tough Geneva team. Especially looks good on playoff points as well as Geneva. And Geneva needs the win too because it's the Duquesne Conference. You can't count out anything. Kenwood takes on St. Rita for Kenwood Academy. Everyone's saying, well, they lost their first game. They're overrated. They're not overrated. Kenwood's a good team. They got to fix some things. Kenwood is the real deal team. This is a big proving game from against the St. Rita team. So we'll see what happens. If they go 0-2, that's not going to be good. That is definitely not going to be good. They need that win. Ridgewood, keeping a close eye on Ridgewood. Ridgewood's got a good shot at getting 2-0 as they take on Clemente. Evergreen Park, by the way, another team, very interesting team. They beat Marengo. You got to keep an eye out for that team as well. Hinsdale South, Riverside Brookfield, two teams with 2 losses. Riverside Brookfield beat more than they got 1-1. I apologize. Riverside Brookfield, Gutierrez, their quarterback, is a kid that you must know. Another game that I'm looking at, Hinsdale South. They need that one bad, and they need that first one really, really bad. Downers Grove North versus Downers Grove South, the big rivalry game. Downers Grove South has got their first loss. Downers Grove North got the big win. Again, if they get that win, that's 2-0 for DGN, and that's going to be a beautiful thing for DGN to get. Owen Lance, who's a star quarterback. Noah Battle, 2 touchdowns last week. Definitely again, that you have to keep an eye out for as well. Edwardsville is another interesting team to take on Cuyahoga. I think Edwardsville is going to get the best of them. Deerfield at Highland Park. Deerfield, I'm paying very close attention to. Mac Jones had a wonderful game last week. I think it's 4 touchdowns. Their quarterback. So definitely a thing to keep an eye out for as well. And Deerfield's got 2 great tight ends as well. So check out for that one. Going down. All right. Juliet West at Morris. That's another big time game right there. Juliet West is 1-0, going against the Morris team that's 1-0. Another game that you got to keep a close eye out for as well. Grays Lake North versus M1 Deloitte. That's another big game, just because of the size difference. And Grays Lake North getting that big first one last week. Stevenson at Taft. That's going to be another game to look at. Bennett Academy at Moline. Bennett got their first one. Moline got their first one. Talk about a big-time game right there. Lockport, Wheaton North. Wow. 2 teams, 2 wins, same types of styles almost. With Wheaton North, the big thing is going to be, again, that offensive line. against Lockport's defensive line. Very impressed with Lockport's defensive line. Um, Glenbard West versus DeSimit Jesuit out of St. Louis, big powerhouse. Glenbard West got that first one over Marist. It was 7-6, so definitely something to look out for. Glenbrook South versus Lake Zurich. Lake Zurich got the win. Keeping a very close eye in North Suburban Conference, no doubt about that. Warren Township got their first loss last week, so definitely a game to look out for. Madison at Ottawa Marquette. Ottawa Marquette needs that win bad. Bishop McNamara at Herscher. Another game right there. Again, Bishop McNamara needs that win. Nazareth Academy at York. Wow. What a game to schedule. That's a big game to schedule at York. Nazareth Academy, their second away game. Nazareth needs that win. They need that W against the tough York team. And York has proven they're not a fluke these past 2 seasons. They got their first one, so definitely keep an eye out for York High School. Montini versus Hillcrest. Big time game for Montini. If they can get to that 2-0, oh, buddy, watch out. I'll tell you that right now. Manuka, Nico Valley loss. Manuka on the high. Wow. Absolutely stunning Manuka offensive line. It'll be interesting to see how Nico Valley's defensive line can counter that. They got a tough-ass defensive tackle. Justin begins for D. It'll be interesting. Definitely a game to check out. Manuka at Nico Valley. Morrison at Princeton. Morrison everyone loves. Princeton is always good. Definitely a game to check out for as well. Looking down. Kankakee at Washington. 2 teams, 1 win. Washington, big win over Caneland. Kankakee, big win over Nazareth last week. Ooh, that game's a bruiser. No doubt about that. Highland and Mamahout Seymour is always a big game. Definitely a game to check out. Proviso West, Proviso East, big rivalry game. I know no one cares, but it's Proviso East versus Proviso West. It's a big rivalry game. I'm from the area, so that's always a big rivalry game. Hinsdale Central at Bolingbrook. Can Hinsdale Central get the big win? Bolingbrook 1-0. Hinsdale Central lost to a tough Naperville Central team. We will see Conan at Wheeling. Conan, both teams need to win. They're both 0-1. Hoffman Estates, Elk Grove Village. Hoffman Estates needs that win. They had a tough loss last week. It was over. I think it was overtime. I think it was the overtime loss as well, by 2, if I'm not mistaken, 2-point conversion. Let's go down. Caneland at Wakanda. Wakanda got the big win. Caneland needs a win. Tough loss to Washington. It's going to be that's a big one. That's a big game right there. No doubt about that. All right, let's go down. All right. St. Charles North takes on Crete-Monee. Crete-Monee looked really good last week, even though they had suffered a 24-0 loss. But the St. Charles North team is looking unbelievable, riding high on a big-time comeback win against Palatine. We will see what happens. Lincoln Way Central takes on Evanston. 2 teams, very interesting. Lincoln Way Central got their big first win. We will see what happens. Lincoln Way West takes on Oswego East. Oswego East needs that win. Lincoln Way West, this is a big-time proving point game from the Holy War between Providence Catholic versus Julia Catholic. Julia Catholic gets the win. Providence Catholic gets the win week 1. With Julia Catholic, Munoz, their quarterback. Unbelievable game 1. He's definitely a quarterback that you must know about. No doubt about that. Mount Carmel, the Golden Aces take on Effingham is always a big-time game. Prospect at Barrington. Barrington got the big win over Warren Township, and Prospect got the big win as well. Both 1-0 teams. Peatone at Sandwich on a Thursday. Wow. But again, that's expected. Keep a close eye out for the Sandwich team if they get that big win over Peatone. No doubt about that. Plano at Mantino. Mantino, you got to do something. I picked you as my surprise team. Come on, Mantino. That's a joke, by the way. Orion got the big win over Hall last week. Orion, another team, chip filler, definitely a quarterback to keep an eye on for, or filler. I probably got the name wrong. Carmel, Lake Forest, can Carmel get that big second win? Quincy, Notre Dame at Richmond Burden, a tale of two different teams. And with Quincy, Notre Dame, they're 0-1 against the tough Quincy team. Richmond Burden got the big win over Marion Central Catholic. We'll see what happens, but Quincy, they got to do something in this game. And they played a tough Quincy team. Maine South at Warren Township on a Thursday. I know it's absolutely crazy, but it's expected. Maine South got the tough loss. Warren Township got the tough loss. Who can get to that first win is going to be very interesting, especially if Warren Township's rushing attack against that Maine South defense. We will see what happens. Seneca Lyle is always a big time small school game with Seneca being good now. Definitely a game to check out. If Seneca can get it to 2-0, I'm telling you right now, watch out for the Seneca Fighting Irish team. They are scary. They beat Wilmington last week. Definitely a game you got to check out for. Plainfield North at Naperville Central. Naperville Central gets that big first win against Hinsdale Central. Plainfield North got their first loss. Talk about a big-time game. Definitely a game you got to check out for. Pinckneyville at Cesar Valier. You talk about another big-time game right there in Southern Illinois. Cesar Valier, Colt, Colt, their athlete, multi-purpose athlete, had a wonderful game last season. Definitely a team to check out for in Cesar Valier. Richards takes down Libertyville. Libertyville 1-0. Richards 0-1. Another big game right there. Fenwick at St. Ignatius is always a big-time game. Fenwick getting the first win over OPRF. St. Ignatius, if I'm not mistaken, is 1-0, so it's going to be another interesting game as we look at it as well. Murfreesboro 1-0, taking on the Anna Jonesboro team. Always a big-time game right there as well. Quincy at Alton, I think Quincy's going to get that game. I think Quincy's going to get the 2-0. A lot of teams playing non-Missouri teams, I see, but that's not a big surprise. Woodstock at Marengo. Marengo, they need that first win. They lost to Evergreen Park, a little bit of a shocker. Sycamore at Simeon. Talk about another very interesting game. Can they get that bad taste out of their mouth after that tough loss to Warrenville South? We will see. Simeon takes on a tough Sycamore team. I'm trying to look for any more teams. Wayne Academy, St. Charles East. Wayne Academy's riding high in a 1-0 team going against a tough Duquesne team that's 0-1. Size difference is huge. We will see. It's going to be a big game. Triad versus Mount Zion. Always very interesting, especially with that game. Mount Zion is a team that you cannot sleep on this year. Don't sleep on them. I already talked about St. Charles versus Streeter at Ottawa. Big rivalry game. Ottawa 0-1, Streeter 1-0. Can Streeter get to 2-0? We will see. Loyola Academy, Naperville North is the big-time game everyone's also talking about. Loyola Academy defense is looking great. Jacob Bell from Naperville North, 4 touchdowns last week. A movable object versus the force, whatever. That's another big-time game that we're looking at as well. Yeah, so that is pretty much it for week 2. I think we're going to have a better idea when we get into week 3. Definitely keeping a close eye on the 0-1 teams, especially the 0-1 teams that we thought were going to be good. Zion Benton takes on Antioch. Antioch looks really good this season. I'm telling you that right now. Their defense is unbelievable. Got to shore some things up on the offensive line for Antioch. But I think Antioch's got that game. New Trier at Yorkville. Interesting. But that travel and what Yorkville's been able to do, especially with their passing attack, we'll see what happens. Woodstock takes on Marengo. I actually talked about that before. Woodstock North at Harvard, another Thursday game. Please be nice to your officials. Andrew takes on Oswego. I just saw that right there. Andrew, wow. 1-0. Oswego, 1-0. You talk about a game. Hey, and I guess talking shit about the coach doesn't get you anywhere. So, coaches, fans, players and that, sending me anonymous emails and tweets and Instagram DMs. Just stop. Let the coach do their job. Also be respectful to referees. Please. Please, that's the most important thing. Be respectable to referees. Lake Park at OPRF. If Lake Park can get that win, they're 2-0. So we'll see. All right, that's it. Make sure you follow Coach Big Pete, Deep Dish Football on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. My email is coachbigpetefp@gmail.com. Deep Dish Football Live Wednesday, tonight, actually, at 6 p.m. DuPage Run Shoot Show Thursday. Make sure you follow DuPage Run Shoot Show on Facebook and Twitter with my co-host, Patrick Codo. And we go through DuPage County football a little bit, IHSA football, and then Breakfast with Coach Big Pete, 9 a.m. Again, people, I beg of you, send your stats. Make sure I have your stats after the game on Friday night or even Thursday night. Please make sure I have your stats Saturday as well. Nominations for Player of the Night in the state of Illinois, they go till midnight on Saturday. So Friday night, get me those stats for who's the best player in the state of Illinois. Send me those stats. Tweet, email me at coachbigpetefp@gmail.com. coachbigpetefp@gmail.com. And again, my Sunday conclusion article features the best performances in the state of Illinois. Please send me those stats, varsity stats, please. I beg of you. And again, my email is coachbigpetefp@gmail.com. Week 4, as always, is tradition of Deep Dish Football. The IHSA polls come out for classes 1A to 8A. And that being said, that is it. Make sure you follow Coach Big Pete, Deep Dish Football on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. My email is coachbigpetefp@gmail.com. If you like my work, I'm taking no donations, no tips. Please send money to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. It is Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month, Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. Make sure you check it out. Please send them a donation. Thank you so much. Let's get ready for some Week 2 action. See you on Deep Dish Football Live as I go more into the games.